We're looking at three areas of business thinking. The first is strategic thinking and what that goes on in the brain when someone's grappling with a tough strategic problem and thinking long-term into the future. We're also looking at tactical reasoning. Are they able to operationalize that into steps to implement and execute on a strategy? And then the third area we're looking at is moral reasoning. What goes on when the ethical dilemma is identified in the brain? And what areas of the brain are activated? In that area, for example, we've learned that autobiographical memory, personal sense of identity, those areas of the brain responsible for that really are called up to grapple with a moral issue, to think, is this me? Am I making a decision that I can live with that's consistent with my definition of myself?
What we're learning is that positively framed controls can enhance trust, whereas negatively framed controls can actually be detrimental to the trust environment and ultimately to firm performance.
One recent project that we did is we were interested in the efficacy of some pretty common advice that people are given in terms of how they can save money when they make purchases. So people are a lot of times told to create a budget for a big purchase. So know how much you want to spend before you go out and actually buy something. And we found consistently that if people think about price before they see the options, they end up spending more. So this advice tends to backfire pretty spectacularly.
A lot of the research I'm doing right now is on power and hierarchy and how people understand one another to be higher or lower in status relative to themselves. And this affects how they evaluate each other. It affects their behavior they have if they're in a higher or lower position. We're interested in, especially in how people respond to others who express behaviors of dominance. And so there's both positive aspects to being dominant and assertive, especially in a leadership capacity, but there can be a point where excessive dominance, excessive assertiveness is seen as negative, and it has negative social impact on the others that you're interacting with.
I'm working in the area of deception and how people misrepresent to others what the truth is and what it is that they've actually done. The idea behind the research is to study how it is that other people react to those that are deceiving them, as well as what happens if it's possibly detected and the costs that are generated as a result of the deception and other kinds of things that have to take place to hide it.
So because of the change in how financial statements are created today, the auditor's job is harder. So instead of just verifying the numbers on the financial statements, which is what the auditor used to do, the auditor has to assess the reasonableness of estimates that management makes. Our current projects involve looking at whether there are characteristics of auditors that are associated with them being better at this task, and whether there are interventions that we can put in place to make them better at this task.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.